Good afternoon. My name is Heather Wardrop, and I am a student at Bay Path University in the HR Management degree program. And I'm currently taking this class, HR Management, as part of my degree curriculum. And I want to welcome you to my week 1 assignment video. So our assignment this week asks us to take a look at strategic planning and to explain the importance of strategic planning in the HR function. It also asks us to list the aspects needed to create an HRM plan. And so you can see here on my screen, I've included a diagram. Lots of pretty colors here, but these colors all explain why it's important to have strategic planning and what goes into that strategic planning. So any business, any smart business is going to have a strategic plan, or they're not going to be a business for very long. And this is something that I've learned being in human resources at my current place of employment. So a business strategic plan sets priorities for long-term goals. It focuses energy and resources. It strengthens the operations. And it helps the whole company, the whole business to work towards common goals. It needs to be communicated and it needs to be measurable. Measure, measure, measure. The HR strategic plan helps the organization to achieve its strategic goals. So it's in line with the business strategic plan. The goal is to meet strategic goals and operational plans of the organization. So it's to hire the right people with the right skills at the right time. That's our job in HR, to help the business achieve its goals. So what makes a good HR strategic plan? Well, it's applicable. The plan should be created to be used, and it should be reviewed and updated as the needs of the business change. Communication about plan details is imperative. It should always align with the corporate mission, vision, and values. It always should involve teamwork in the planning and creation of the plan. Insight and information from every department is needed to create this strategic plan in HR. And it should include the use of innovative technology and address areas where new technology may be needed and useful for the business. So the strategic plan creation. Understand the mission and values of the organization. It's imperative for the HR manager to align department objectives with organizational objectives. So understand the organizational life cycle and have an awareness of where your organization is in its life cycle. The needs of the business change depending upon where the life cycle of the business is. So it would make sense that you would need to know where you are in that life cycle. HR needs its own set of mission, vision, and value statements that align with the organization's mission, vision, and values. The HR mission statement should state how the HR department helps the organization. It should understand challenges facing the department and the business. So you need to understand what is happening for the business if you're going to understand what you need to do in an HR role to help. And finally, it needs to be keeping up with social, economic, legislative, and technological trends that impact on human resources in your area and in the sector. What are some other things that should be happening? Well, conducting a SWOT. What's a SWOT? This is an analysis of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the business and for HR. Prioritize issues and actions. So prioritize goals, create an action plan to deal with the challenges identified in when you conduct your SWOT. If you identify in your SWOT that there is going to be a desperate need for more staff in a certain sector in the coming few months, well, how are you going to deal with that challenge? This is where you're creating an action plan to deal with the challenge of staffing. Keep management and executives involved in this stage of planning. The goal is always to align with the needs of the business as a whole. When drawing up the HR plan, determine HR resource needs, determine recruiting strategy, select employees, develop training, determine compensation, appraise performance. Once the strategies for HR in your organization have been developed, they should be documented in an HR plan. This is a brief document that states the key assumptions and the resulting strategies, along with who has a responsibility for the strategies and the timeline for implementation. And this is where the information for the HR plan should come from. So what are the short-term goals in the HR plan that can be planned for to help in carrying out those longer-term goals? Where are you going to start? What are the details? Details for the short term. And then finally, down here you can see implementation. So implementing this strategic plan, making sure it aligns with the company plan, making sure you monitor, reevaluate, measure, and be prepared to change if necessary. And finally, the most important aspect of any plan is to communicate. Communicate, communicate, communicate. You must be in constant communication, not only with your executive team, but with all of the other pieces of the organization that are going to have to help you carry this plan out. I hope you've enjoyed my week 1 presentation, and I thank you so very much for listening.